Okay, so the Eagles got some unexpected news ahead of their matchup with the Steelers as a couple key players popped up on the injury report this week with surprise injuries. That being said though, is there actually any reason to be concerned about this? Meanwhile, the Eagles have a chance to send a message to the NFL as following some struggles, it seems like this game against the Steelers could be a big opportunity for A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles passing game to really get on track. Plus, Saquon Barkley is embracing the challenge of going up against Pittsburgh's elite run defense, while the Steelers got some injury updates of their own. So we're going to talk about that and everything else leading into the Eagles matchup with the Steelers starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And we are just a couple days away from the Battle of Pennsylvania as the Birds will take on the Steelers in Philly in what is undeniably one of the best games of the week. And honestly, just thank goodness we're about to see an actual football game take place because obviously with all the drama going on this week in the media talking about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, that's really where a lot of the attention has ended up going. Now obviously, like I talked about yesterday, Jalen and A.J. are fine as they both shut down all the drama in their press conferences this week, so we can rest assured there is no rift between the two stars and there's no drama in the Eagles locker room that could potentially cause this team to slip up and have a repeat of what happened last year in 2023. But just in case you still have concerns, just take it from a guy who was in the Eagles locker room last year and still comes around frequently in the retired legend Jason Kelce, as he said this on WIP on Thursday.
Are they going to be all right? I think they're already all right. They're 9 games in a row. They're second in the NFC with a real chance, to clinch the NFC. I think last year there was a lot of reasons why last year collapsed. And I just don't think that we're even in a comparable situation. Last year we had the 32nd ranked defense, I think, in the NFL.
Big difference, man.
I mean, offensively we were struggling too, but I think when, it was really a compound of so many things going wrong. We tried to switch coordinators halfway through a season. Yeah. It just feels like, both the offense has an identity, at least right now. It never really felt like we had that last year. We were kind of always trying to figure that out. Defensively, they're playing lights out. I mean, they've really turned a corner. Really ever since that Tampa game earlier in the year. Sure. And Cooper DeJean, there's a lot of young guys. Guantanamo Bay. They're really playing at a high level. So to me, it's not even comparable. I think that this team has proven that they're a legitimate contender.
I think it's pretty clear that if you paid attention to both this year's team and last year's team, that this year's team is nothing like the team that had a historic collapse in 2023. I mean, like Kelce said, they have an elite defense this year, they have a strong identity on offense, and the fashion in which they've won games has proved that they are true contenders. So there's honestly no part of me that thinks that they're going to have a repeat of last year. And there's also absolutely no part of me that thinks that A.J. Brown is the diva wide receiver that many have tried to paint him out to be the past couple of years, especially when we have other wide receivers in the league doing far worse than what A.J. has.
A tweet that got a lot of attention yesterday. You care to expand on your feelings or what you wanted to convey with that?
I mean, you read what you read. A little frustrated for sure.
Look, I'm not going to spend all this time hating on Debo. I'm just simply pointing out the fact that AJ has never done anything even remotely close to this. So I don't see how you could possibly label him as one of those drama-causing wide receivers or selfish or anything like that. And honestly, I think he's the complete opposite, as the guy clearly just wants to win and contribute to that winning as much as he can. And he's going to have a big opportunity to do that in a couple days here when the Birds take on the Steelers, as he's going to be facing a defense that he saw a ton of success against just a couple years ago, as Brian Baldinger highlighted in this video.
With the winds of controversy swirling this week between a receiver and the quarterback in Philly, maybe the Eagles and the Steelers should take a look at what A.J. Brown did against the Steelers just 2 years ago, week 8. There's Minka Fitzpatrick coming over from the free safety position, and Jalen just put it up and let his star receiver jump right in front of the all-pro safety right there. That was the first touchdown of the game, opening drive of the game. Minka can't believe it. They came back the next drive, and it was more of the same. Jalen just let it fly. AJ just winning his one-on-one battles. Contested passes right here, over the outside shoulder, perfectly thrown. That was the second touchdown. They scored the third touchdown of the game in the first 24 minutes right here on the old college pump and dump. Jalen sees it, he sees the corner 10 yards off of AJ. He gives a signal right there. Boston Scott was the running back at the time, and it's just this, pump it right there and then just dump it. They scored 3 touchdowns to AJ against the Steelers right here, and they couldn't do anything to stop it. And maybe there'd be a good formula right here this weekend against the Steelers. Pump. And then just Jalen, put it up let your star receiver go get it. Maybe that would end some of the controversy. I know it would make that man happy, that's for sure. And I'm sure the Steelers wouldn't love it either.
Like I've said all week, this is going to be a huge opportunity for A.J. Brown and the passing game to get on track this week after some struggles, because not only did A.J. and Jalen light this defense up just a couple seasons ago, but this season specifically, Pittsburgh is ranked just 17th against the pass. Meanwhile, against the run, they're ranked 4th, so this hypothetically could be a game where the passing game is relied upon a bit more to be successful, and if that's the case, then Saquon Barkley is still extremely confident that they'll be able to get the job done.
100% confidence. I mean, we have A.J. Brown, we have Devontae Smith, we have Jalen Hurts. Like I said before, it's like, you know, the goal is to win football games. Like, if we were throwing for 350 yards and we weren't rushing that great, would people still have the same conversations? Like, it's not real. Like, what matters is winning football games. And yes, we want to do better. We know, like, the kind of talent that we have, and obviously the stats didn't match to, you know, the production we had in the past game last week. But, like, that was last week. That was in the past. We learned from it. We see what we could have done better in the film, and now we get ready for the Steelers and attack them in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in complete agreement with Saquon there, because the Eagles obviously have the talent to pass the ball well, and we've seen them do it in the past, including this season, so there's no doubt in my mind that they can do it again and have another good performance when needed. And if they do it to the Steelers this week, I think that sends a clear message to the NFL that, hey, this Eagles offense isn't just a threat because of their ground game, but they can throw the ball well too, if they must. But I want to know what you guys think. What kind of performance are you expecting from A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and the rest of the Eagles passing game this week against the Steelers? All that being said, though, obviously, the identity of this Eagles offense is still running the football, and it doesn't matter the opponent that the Eagles are matched up against, because they feel like they can run the ball effectively on anybody. I mean, we saw it just a couple weeks ago against the Ravens, who have the best run defense in the league, with the Eagles and Saquon having a good amount of success in that game, and it seems like we could see it again this week versus the Steelers' 4th ranked run defense, as Saquon Barkley says that he and the rest of the offense are looking forward to the challenge.
I love it. It's a challenge. It's a challenge not only for me, but, you know, for the guys up front. You know, we feel like we're one of, if not the best run groups in the NFL, and we know that when we play against teams, that's the goal, is to stop that, and, you know, you gotta make them stop it. We're gonna keep going, and if they can't, then they can't.
I definitely love that Barkley and the Eagles are embracing the challenge. And again, personally, there's just no doubt in my mind that Saquon Barkley and the Eagles can have a ton of success running the football, no matter who they're going up against. So even though the Steelers' defense is great against the run, I'm still very confident that Saquon will be able to make a big impact. But staying with this matchup, this also is just obviously going to be a really exciting game overall, as these are two of the top teams in their respective conferences. They've both been playing some really good football lately, and both also feature some really talented players. So again, this is certainly going to be a super fun matchup and a big test for both sides. And interestingly enough, both teams are going to be tasked with doing something that they've essentially never done. As for the Steelers, they haven't beat the Eagles and Philly since 1965, as they are 0-10 in their last 10 games here. So while they have technically done it before, it just hasn't been for a very, very, very long time. So they're going to want to change that. And then meanwhile for the Eagles, they've never been able to knock off Pittsburgh's quarterback Russell Wilson during his 13 years in the NFL, as Philly is 0-4 versus Russ in the regular season and 0-5 against him, including the playoffs. And Wilson himself knows about all the success that he's had against the Birds in his career.
Yeah, but that's all, I'm aware.
The Eagles are certainly hoping to do what they've never done and finally beat Russ this Sunday. But to do that, they're obviously going to have to be able to slow down the veteran QB, along with the Steelers offense that's been averaging over 28 points per game since Russ took over. So this will definitely be a tough test for the Eagles' #1 ranked defense, which, funny enough, Russell Wilson is also 4-0 in his last 4 games against the league's #1 defense going into the game. So the Eagles are going to be looking to break that trend as well. And luckily for them, they at least won't have to worry about facing Wilson and the Steelers' #1 receiving target, as like I talked about earlier in the week, George Pickens is very likely going to miss this matchup with the hamstring injury that he suffered in practice last week, and obviously that's a huge blow for the Steelers offense because Pickens is very important to what they do, so that definitely plays into the hands of the Birds defense. And honestly, as long as they can contain Najee Harris and the Steelers run game and then get pressure on Russ while also keeping him in the pocket, the Eagles defense should be set up to have success in this one. But now, moving on to some more injury updates, it looks like in addition to Pickens, the Steelers could also be without a couple important defenders in this game, as both defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi and safety Deshaun Elliott have missed practice time this week as well, and it looks likely that they'll be out on Sunday. Meanwhile, for the Birds, things are looking really good on the injury front, as Thursday's injury report showed that everybody was a full participant in practice besides safety Sidney Brown, who was limited. But other than that, it doesn't really look like anybody is even at risk of missing this game for Philly. That being said though, the Eagles actually did get some surprising injury news this week that I wouldn't exactly call ideal. And don't worry, we're going to get into that in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and you don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this coming throughout the rest of the season, then make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. Trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss any of the Eagles coverage or content I got coming on this channel. I cover the Birds pretty much daily here, so if you want to stay up to date on all the latest Eagles news, this is the spot. So again, subscribe and hit that notification bell. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like as well to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 700 likes today. And now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So as I was saying, it looks like pretty much everybody is going to be healthy enough and ready to go for this matchup against the Steelers on Sunday, but the Birds also did get a couple surprise injury updates ahead of the game, starting with the fact that Jalen Hurts is apparently dealing with some sort of left finger injury, which he could have possibly suffered this past week against the Panthers. That being said though, I don't want to make a bigger deal out of this than it really is, as Hurts has obviously been a full participant all week and is going to play, plus the injury is on his non-throwing hand, so it theoretically really shouldn't affect his ability to throw the ball at all. That being said though, this will still be something to monitor throughout the rest of the season, but again, I don't think this is really anything to worry about. And in my opinion, the slightly more worrying news, if you want to call it that, involves linebacker Nakobe Dean, as he surprisingly popped up on the injury report this week with an elbow issue, and he apparently has been spotted at practice wearing a big brace on his right arm to deal with it. So that's not exactly the most comforting thing to hear, especially this late in the season. Now that being said though, I don't think there's really any reason to panic, as Dean was still a full participant throughout the week, so it's clearly not severe enough that it would cause him to miss any time. My concern though would just be the possibility of maybe him aggravating the injury even more while playing, and then we could have a bit more of a serious problem. So Nakobe's elbow injury and how exactly he plays with that brace on will definitely be something to monitor this week. But again, there's definitely no reason to be seriously concerned about it at this current moment in time. And overall, this matchup between the Eagles and Steelers is one that I'm really looking forward to, as I think it's just going to be a really fun and hard-fought battle between two good teams, and it's definitely a great test for both sides to see where they're at in the late stages of the season and as the playoffs are on the horizon. And you guys already know that I'm going to roll with the Eagles to win the game, and I'm going to specifically say they'll win by a score of 30-22. But that being said, what do you guys think? Give me all your score predictions down in the comments below. And again, also while you're at it, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any other Eagles coverage just like this when it's uploaded. And also again, make sure you drop a like to show some support if you did enjoy this video, because it really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 700 likes today. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video going over some news from earlier in the week, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.